All right. Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining us at our March press availability with Dr. Miriam Rogers. Thank you for venturing out in the rain. We're going to get started. Dr. Rogers, as always, has updates to share with the community. And then following her updates, we will open it up for questions. So, Dr. Rogers, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Today I will provide updates and information on the fiscal year 26 operating budget, the BCPS graduation rate, and our community conversation on special education and upcoming job fairs. Want to begin by welcoming our board vice chair, Chair Harvey. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We also have Ms. DeVita representing TABCO. We want to welcome you for being here and appreciate your partnership as well. Thank you. On February 25th, the Board of Education voted to approve a $2.98 billion fiscal year 2026 operating budget request. The board's requests will now be sent to the County Executive Klossmeyer and the County Council for consideration and approval. Despite the fiscal uncertainties at the state and local level, the county executive has indicated her commitment to Team BCPS. I want to thank her and her team for working with us to find the best possible solution that will ensure maximum funding for our students and staff. We will keep our community informed as we move through this process with our county leaders. I encourage the Team BCPS community to stay engaged with the budget process. The county executive is hosting a series of budget town halls from residents of Baltimore County to provide their input into the budget planning process, and we need our staff, families, and community members to advocate for the board's budget requests. A fully funded budget will help us to fast forward student achievement and address the significant needs of our system. Every dollar we request as a school system is critically important for the work that we do to prepare students to graduate, prepared to thrive in college or in their careers. Recently released data from the Maryland State Department of Education shows that the county's investment is paying off. BCPS's graduation rate rose for the second year in a row to 85.84%. The rate increased by nearly 1 percentage point. That's about double the previous year. Our data is trending in the right direction. We are pleased with the improvements in both the graduation rate and dropout rate. 12 high schools saw an increase in their rate, 11 in their graduation rate, and 11 high schools saw a decrease in their dropout rate. The four-year graduation rate improved for nearly all student groups broken down by race and ethnicity. Hispanic, Latino, and multilingual students reported the largest increases in graduation rate at 6.69% and 8.31 percentage point increases, respectively. The top three improved schools were Parkville High School, Owings Middle High School, and Woodlawn High School for the second year in a row. Woodlawn High School also had one of the largest one-year decreases in four-year dropout rates. We celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2024 and recognize the tireless efforts of the administrators and staff who helped our students to reach this significant milestone. Family and community engagement remains a top priority for this system, and this spring, we will kick off a series of events with a community conversation on special education on March 13th. The event will be held at Nottingham Middle School from 6 to 7 p.m., and families and stakeholders are invited to learn more about BCPS's special education services and ongoing efforts to ensure that our students have a range of comprehensive supports and resources for growth and achievement. I look forward to connecting with members of our special education community. For my final item this morning, please spread the word. BCPS is hiring. We will have our annual system-wide job fairs on March 11th at Dundalk High School, March 12th at Catonsville High School, and March 13th at George Washington Carver Center for Arts and Technology. We are hiring for instructional and support positions. We will offer on-the-spot interviews and are prepared to award conditional open contracts to new employees on site. Our efforts to recruit are year-round, and we invite all interested candidates to join us to learn more about Team BCPS. Thank you for your time. At this time, I'll call Ms. Onijala back.
Should I stay? I think they want us to sit. Right. Hi. State Senator Heddleman introduced a bill that would require all the LEAs to join NASDAQ to have access to a clearinghouse that would help in the hiring process. I believe BCPS is already part of that clearinghouse. And the senator's office also said the bill was inspired by events that happened at Pikesville High School. Can you talk about how BCPS utilizes the clearinghouse if they do so, and if there have been any other updates or changing to the hiring process since Dazon Darian's hiring?
So, as you've indicated, we are already a part of the clearinghouse. What the clearinghouse allows school systems to do is to have another layer. When employees apply for employment with us, they have a database where they can provide us with any pertinent information that our hiring team would need to make decisions. We also work directly with credentialing with universities or the university clearinghouse for credentials for employees to ensure that there are no steps in between. And lastly, I would speak to the fact that when there's reciprocity between states, the state provides some guidance and a window of opportunity where staff members have to apply for their Maryland teaching certificate. In Baltimore County, we do not provide that window. When prospective employees come to apply for benefits, they are also required at that same time to complete that application on site with us. And so those are additional measures that have where we're partnering with other people who have greater databases, and they can provide any additional information that would be pertinent beyond the background check and the FBI national search that we do. You're welcome.
Concerning Woodlawn High School, over the past few weeks, we've aired a few stories concerning some pretty alarming fights and video that we've seen in Woodlawn. We've spoken to a few parents and students who are saying that they don't feel safe at Woodlawn High School, and we can see at state data that there is an increase in violence and instances of violence in Woodlawn High School. What is your message to parents or students who say they don't feel safe in Woodlawn High School?
So thank you for that question. And I would say my message is we all have a role to play in safety as a community. As a school system, we're clear on our expectations, and we provide the supports that are necessary to ensure safety in all of our schools, whether those supports are school safety assistants. We have SROs employed in the school. We have a code of conduct with clear expectations and consequences that we follow. We work directly with our law enforcement partners. But one of the things that I share in a variety of venues is when I take a look personally at the incidences that result in conflict in schools. Most times they have nothing to do with the schoolhouse. Most times it's something that originates from social media or something that originates from the community. And so we are committed to educating the whole child, and we need the partnership of the entire community to do this work. And so what that means is if parents and caregivers are aware of some information, it sounds like there is potential conflict, we encourage them to reach out directly to the school. The school does a great job, whether it's through the counselors or whether it's through the teachers or administration, of intervening when they have the information. But there's a variety of ways to share information with the school, but this is where we need our community partners as well as our parents and caregivers to let us know if something's happening in the community, because oftentimes those community outside issues spill in to the schoolhouse, and to let our parents know that we remain committed to our priority of safety and climate. We have put in the resources necessary and try to do everything that we can to be proactive around our expectations, to provide additional resources for our students around mental health, community resources for community conference, conflict resolution, etc. But when students make bad choices, we will respond to those choices immediately and swiftly according to our code of conduct. Yes.
So a two-part question. First part, since testing began in 2018, 30% of the water tests in Baltimore County schools have come back with levels of lead that are above the legal limit in the state. Why is Baltimore, those levels are also the highest of any district in the Baltimore area. Why are Baltimore County's levels so high?
So I'm glad you mentioned in the Baltimore area. One of the things you hear me say often is we have the third oldest set of buildings in the state of Maryland. And so there's a direct correlation with older buildings, older infrastructure, and these results that you see. One of the things that we do is we make sure that we are compliant with the testing. We post all of that information for our communities. Any affected communities, they receive direct communication for us. In our budget, you'll see for those years, and including FY26, allocation for bottled water to make sure that our students and our staff members have what they need. But as we work through the capital projects and change the infrastructure, that's going to be the way that we're able to eliminate all of these.
Oh, you said there was a second part to that. Okay.
So the second part, students and teachers are presumably drinking this water
They're not.
Before those sites are closed off, right? Because they're open, then they're tested, they found lead, and then they shut them down. But prior to that, they're accessible for drinking, right? Drinking water fountains, things like that. What is the plan to replace these pipes?
So I've just shared what the plan is. So part of it is capital projects. And I would say that if you go to our website, you can find some very specific information, and it dates back to how long and how often these tests are. The Department of Facilities takes very seriously this work and their commitment to making sure that everyone's safe. In some structures, it's simply not feasible to just change out pipes. If it's feasible to change out pipes, they do so as part of our capital projects, as well as part of our plants and facilities funding that we have. But we provide that drinking water, the bottled water, to our schools. But you can go to our website for very specific information that date back to specific schools.
Dr. Rogers, good morning. Just wanted to get back to the budget. Numbers, it's a lot. I know that you've faced questioning from the council, and after digging through it, I just want to know what's your message to the 20,000 teachers and employees and even parents who may be wondering that the sky's falling with the budget number and you were putting everyone at rest about 9 out of the last 11 years in the budget battles you faced. When it comes to the increase in salaries, that's what a lot of them are worried about. What message do you have to folks in lame terms, of the battle ahead? I know you emphasize a lot on the process. If you could just explain that a bit more.
Yes. So thank you for sharing. Absolutely. This is not uncharted territory for Baltimore County Public Schools. Out of the last 11 fiscal years, 9 years, there's been a difference between what we've requested and what we've received. And as you said, we've talked through what the process is. It's really a back and forth iterative process with our county executive, who has pledged her commitment to the school system, a longtime proponent of education, followed by the county council to make those determinations. But to the 20,000 employees that are doing this work every single day on behalf of students, no matter what the position is, I say to them that we made that 3-year compensation agreement because we wanted not only to recruit people to Team BCPS, but the people who are here, we value them, their work, and we want to keep them, and we wanted them to be able to focus on their work and not have to worry about their livelihood and about their parents. So yes, our negotiated agreements require me to put forward a budget that fully compensates the package, which is about $70 million of the $100 million ask when you add it up. But beyond that, we have to recognize the work that they're doing. In a year and a half, they've made changes that we shouldn't have even started to see gains based on implementation science in 3 years. And so we value the work that they're doing. There are a lot of new things that are coming at them. We have new curriculum, new training, new professional development, and they keep stepping up to the plate. They keep doing what it takes to make sure that our students have what they need. And so I am committed not only at the local level, but I have been over the last 4 years in Annapolis advocating on their behalf to do everything that we can to bring as much of this compensation package here to them, because we have to deliver for them because they are delivering for our students. Thank you.
Concerning graduation rates, a few years ago, the state did change requirements for high school graduation. Students no longer have to pass state assessments. And the reason for that, and I was in the hearings when this was being debated, is because they wanted the graduation rates to go up, because they were saying that specifically minority students and those with disabilities had a hard time with standardized tests. But other people see it as a lowering of expectations. What is your feeling on that? Do you think that the state should have changed the graduation requirements? Should students have to pass assessments to graduate in Maryland?
I think when I think about graduation requirements, having been a former high school principal, I think about the totality of work and the experiences that a student has to display throughout 4 years that make them ready for graduation. I don't think it's one assessment that should make the difference between whether or not a student graduates. I think it's the ability of students over 4 years to engage in rigorous coursework, to pass all of the expectations of those classes. There are exams at the end of those classes. There are, outside indicators for college and career readiness, whether those are AP exams, SAT exams, CTE credentialing. And I think it's really the body of work that speaks to whether or not, since you're asking for my personal opinion, whether or not a student is ready for graduation. In the same way that I wouldn't think that one test should say that a student is ready for graduation, you could have the reverse argument that a student that fails everything else, if they can pass this one test, that it somehow negates the fact that they haven't attended school or haven't demonstrated mastery in a variety of subjects in alignment with the State Department of Education. So that's where I stand on the matter.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next month. Drive safely.